Anyways, let's take a look at the Nintendo thing. I want to hear Moist Critical because I love Moist Critical's funny little stuff, you know. But yeah, let's give it a try, shall we? Apparently, there's another thing about Nintendo, chat. Yeah, the PC itself is fine, but the problem is with the GPU, he wants you to pay $2,600. That's why I think it's ridiculous.
That's what people sound like when they do their best to defend Nintendo from my mean words. They deserve it. Nintendo is greedy, and I'm tired of it. So I keep making fun of them. And there's so many people that defend Nintendo, even in spite of them reaching into their piggy bank and shaking it for everything that could fall out.
If you're actually defending Nintendo, you're an idiot. That's it. You're just an idiot.
Heavens to Betsy, Nintendo even has the gall to charge money for their tech demo welcome tour for the Nintendo Switch. This is a game with the Switch 2 that's supposed to teach you how to use the console. It is a tour of it, and they didn't even have the common courtesy to let it be free like other games of that kind, like Astrobot back on the PS4. It doesn't get more...
Even then, on top of that, when we did eventually bought a Wii, I have a Wii. It's up on my shelf over there. It came with like the Wii Sports, you know, for free. So...
more pathetic than that. How do you even defend that? How do you even begin to rationalize why they would charge money for their tutorial of the Switch 2? It's craziness. That is an actual Mr. Krabs maneuver. Like that episode where he was charging customers for air inside of the restaurant. Like, Nintendo is so beyond greedy, and I believe it is just truly indefensible no matter how hard people jump through mental gymnastics to, you know, wave it away is not a big deal, and like, they're totally right for increasing the price of their games and all this and that. I don't know. I don't understand the desperation to suck the Nintendo wiener this hard and defend them like this, fight their PR battles for free. It is very valid criticism to make fun of them for their pricing.
Well, they love defending their plastic box, you know? Thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. They like defending their plastic box, you know? So... there's a lot of people. I'm still surprised that there's still console people who like fight over their favorite boxes, to be honest. I thought that was just a phase or so that people just go through, and then later on, you know, it just kind of, you know, I don't know.
Because it's just ludicrous. And keep in mind, Nintendo never drops the price of their games, ever. Games that are like 10 years old are still being sold for full fucking price by Nintendo.
What the fuck?
So these games that are coming out that are going to be $80 occasionally for the Switch 2, they're going to remain $80 till the day you die.
They defend it because of nostalgia. So many people grew up with Nintendo and have happy memories, and now they think they are still the saints. Twitter still exists, Nyaru, and is the only containment box that has these people. Okay, but I grew up with like the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive, but you don't hear me defending the shit out of it, you know? That's what I grew up with. I also grew up with PlayStation 1, but I didn't defend it, you know? So, yeah. Makes no sense. It's just a fucking plastic box. Fucking grow the fuck up. Holy shit, dude.
Occasionally they do like a deal where they drop the price temporarily on some of their titles, but that comes once in a blue moon. You are more likely to see Haley's Comic.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot that this dimension there's a lot of stupid people. You're right, actually. I forgot that I come from the void. Yeah.
Again than you are to see a Nintendo price drop on one of their properties for any meaningful length of time. And they charge out the wazoo for every single fucking thing that they can possibly even imagine. Like game chat in their games is a paid service, which means since it's a paid service, your C buttons are going to be locked behind a paywall. If you don't pay for it, those buttons on your controller aren't even going to work. It's ridiculous. Their game chat is also just reskin Discord, but with technology that's ancient compared to modern Discord. So I'm just going to show you clips from today's Yap session on Nintendo where we're going over Doug Bowser's most recent interview, and they showed more from game chat. It looks so laggy and so old, it is insulting to
Uh-oh.
even consider charging
Oh,
for
God.
it. And in this interview, Doug Bowser gives no good reasons why they increased the price of the games. The reason he gives, I think, is trash.
What the fuck?
Did you watch the Bowser interview over their $80 games? I didn't watch the interview, I just saw the statement. I'll watch the interview real quick. I'm assuming it's not a long interview. It's 17 minutes. Wait, this man actually like opened up his whole heart here. I thought it was just going to be another classic Doug Bowser where they bring him out of cryosleep for like a 3-minute appearance and then he goes right back into...
So you guys saying Doug Bowser is actually legit Bowser and trying to gouge everybody's money out?
battery saving mode. Like, this guy is only ever seen like maybe 2 or 3 times a year. That's it. Outside of that, he ceases to exist. He just goes to the back rooms.
Personally, I liked Reggie. Reggie was definitely one of the cool CEOs.
The question now is, with the Switch 2, how do you avoid that trap again? What makes the Switch 2 a worthwhile upgrade so you don't kind of fall into that Wii U moment again?
Yeah, I think...
Oh, he just said the forbidden word. He mentioned Wii U. CNBC bringing up Wii U directly to Nintendo? Oh, wow.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I want to buy a Wii U just to have it. You know, maybe have a couple games on it. You know, thank you for the follow. Welcome.
Oh, wow. Doug Bowser's even surprised. Like, what do you say? Nah, these are clearly pre-screened
Failment.
questions, but I'm surprised they're willing to even mention what kind of failure Wii U was. I was one of the victims of that. I got scammed by it.
is happening behind us right now. And really,
I
for
did
us,
buy a
it's
Wii
about
U,
creating that next generation, but
I would
then
like to buy
add
one.
Very powerful
What did you
gameplay
see in it?
features
In the
and
Wii
social
U?
features. So it's that understanding.
Okay, jeez, I can't believe I always have to defend myself about the Wii U. The reason I bought it is because I missed out on the Wii. I never owned a Wii. I only ever played it at friends' houses, and I felt so weird about that. So when the Wii U rolled around, I was like, not this time. I'm gonna get it. So I got it. Turns out I was weird now because I was the only one with a
Yeah,
Wii U.
but like you know, the console itself.
Without
You know,
the Wii U,
have those
I would have
games so my kids
never
can play
created
it. You know,
Big Moist, because the name Big
going
Moist
through
came
memory
from the Wii
times.
U.
You know.
I bought it, I then brought it to my dorm, and we used it as a communal Wii U for Mario Kart. And I made the name Big Moist on it.
Hey, Meaden.
So, while the console was a scam, 100% that shit was ass, got some good memories from it.
It's probably a lot
And
cheaper
it's a
now, to
CPU,
be honest.
GPU processing power that allows for much deeper game development, and I think an ability to bring even more.
Want to know something? At least it'll be cheaper than buying a Switch 2, to be honest.
More developers onto the platform. And then laid on top of that is the social features that we haven't talked about.
Don't you dare.
Game chat.
Don't you dare.
Feature that lays on top of any game that you play. With the push of one button, seamlessly you can connect with your friends. You can chat with them via audio.
Doug, you've made Discord. Doug, don't you dare try and use that as some kind of justification for crazy price increases. Well, you see, we invented this thing called chat. Now listen, bear with me. I know it sounds like a ludicrous idea, but what if when you played games, you could talk to your friends while doing it? Hey, people criticized Isaac Newton with gravity. Trust me here. Just stick with me. Stick with me.
Wow. Crazy, Charlie.
It's
Crazy.
ridiculous. Like, I'm glad it's finally coming. Like, it's cool, I guess.
Yeah.
But the way they hype this up is ridiculous to me. You have literally just copied Discord's homework 5 or 6 years ago.
True.
Oh yeah, and you have to pay for it. That's right, and you have to pay for it. Forgot about that.
Reinventing the telephone.
It's not even like a free thing.
Audio, or with 4 of them, you can have them on a video camera and have this opportunity to interact
Yep.
and talk about the games you're playing.
Now we're sitting here.
I also love in their own demonstration how choppy this looks. You are just better off using Discord with your friends. It's free.
Yep.
It's better quality.
Yep.
You are just better off if you're playing Switch with your boys. Hop on Discord. You are
Yep.
so much better off.
Yep.
Now we're sitting here on April 2nd. It just so happens as we're
Not even
recording this,
Discord,
the
actual
President of the
2010
United States
Connect
right now is
technology.
announcing his tariffs.
I won't go that far, but
You
it
and
is
so
it
many
is
other executives
dated.
are pulling their hair out,
We didn't consider tariffs into that equation. We felt that that was going to be the right price point for our consumers and the right value proposition, if you will, for the device that we're creating. A lot of news today. We're still all trying to really understand it better and understand what possible impacts, may rise from that. But nothing I could really add to, today's discussion around pricing.
I will say, while the initial price point pre-tariff analysis here is higher than most people expected, myself included,
Yeah.
I could almost understand that. Like, I could almost be like, you know what? It is an upgrade. It is finally modern. Okay, that I can stomach. I'm very curious, and I already know from the headlines where he goes with this, how they could possibly justify not only the increased price of the hardware, but the individual game price increase as well.
Add-on. But if you buy the game itself, this got a lot of attention. As you've seen, $80. That's a lot for a game. I know it's typically not what Nintendo charges. And then we look at the Donkey Kong game that's coming out about a month later. It's $70. Can you talk a little bit about how the gaming pricing strategy is $80, kind of the benchmark for a AAA game from Nintendo? What should we be expecting?
The camera's $50. Hell nah. What do you mean you don't want this piece of tech from the late 2010s?
Jesus.
Well, how are you gonna talk to your friends on Nintendo Switch 2 Discord without the Nintendo Switch 2 camera, bud? Alright, tough guy. What do you know about high-quality 480p cameras?
So we believe, based on the depth and breadth of the play and the repeatability of the play over time, the pricing that we announced is the right pricing. But again, other games like you mentioned, Donkey Kong Bonanza, it's going to be at a $70 price point, because that is what we feel is the right price point for that particular gaming experience.
I love that.
Okay.
Well, Donkey Kong Bonanza, that's a worse game. So we're charging less money for it. That game, it's nothing compared to Mario Kart World. That game actually really sucks. So we're giving you a great deal there. Mario Kart World, though, think of all the hours of gameplay you get. So many hours. So we had to increase the price. We did so much work, we needed to increase the price. And when the next Zelda game comes out, I'm gonna be honest with you, we might go up to $120 on it. We put a lot of tender love and care into it. It's an incredible game, and we think that's a good price for it. It's stupid.
What am I
It's so
listening
fucking stupid.
to?
Basically, they're saying, these are great games. You're going to get a lot out of the games, so we're charging you more for the games because we know you're going to buy it because you already like the properties. I had already read the headline. I knew that's what he said about it, more or less. I just think that's a really dog shit argument because it doesn't apply. Schedule 1. I've gotten so many hours out of Schedule 1, more so than most Nintendo games in recent memory.
True. Schedule one is like you get more hours out of schedule. I think I put more hours in freaking in Power World than any Nintendo game, to be honest.
At a fraction of the price for Schedule 1. Does that mean Tyler should start charging $80 for Schedule 1 to match Mario Kart World? Fuck no. He'd get eaten alive, even though it offers the same amount of fun and the same amount of hours. It's dumb. It's a stupid statement. Like, yes, they'll get away with it because they're Nintendo. I don't think this holds any water. The main reason is they know they can charge this price. People will buy it. There's not going to be any kind of, like, boycott. Nintendo Switch 2 will still sell. All the games will still sell.
Yeah.
So they can do it.
Yep.
So why not squeeze some more money out of the consumer?
Yep.
That's the core. That is at its core why they're doing it. I think they're pricing it based on whether or not it'll be continuously updated. But that's the thing. Every game is continuously updated in the modern day and age. I can't think of a game that just comes out and never gets touched again. Even games that flop still get some updates over their lifespan, even if it is a short lifespan. You can't base a game on that either. I still think that's a stupid reason too. Like fucking Babylon's Fall. That only ever opened to like 12 players and me and Denkin got updates. Concord got updates. Like every game that comes out gets updates. Do you think it would be a fair price if they announce every DLC and add-on will be free? If they did that, yes. That would make a lot more sense. They will never do that. But in your like fairy tale Candyland hypothetical, if they said we're increasing the base price of these games and you will get our feature updates later down the line, like our DLC packages, you will get that included. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that would be a lot more better.
Then I'd be like, okay, I see what you're trying to get at. You're basically selling the game plus the full lifespan season pass. Okay. That would make sense to me. You'd basically be selling like the Game of the Year version. They're never doing that, but if they did, I wouldn't be upset. Oh, I see what you're saying, Archive. Like, Mario Kart is a multiplayer game, so it'll get more stuff. Donkey Kong is a single-player experience, hence why it's cheaper. Not saying it's right, just figuring out their logic. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how they base their pricing then.
But that's like EA mentality though. You know, oh, it's a single player game. It's not gonna sell very well, you know, compared to like, you know, their multiplayer live service game, which is gonna be their Mario Kart. You know, their Mario is gonna be their version of the live service. You know, quotation marks live service.
You have to have a Nintendo account. You're gonna look at how many hours I play before you determine if I'm worthy of buying a Switch 2. Are people gonna be able to go out and buy
That is cute.
one?
Innovation there with the number of hours played was really to reward our most loyal players and to give them a chance to queue up first and have an opportunity to purchase the product. Tomorrow we're going to be meeting with our retail partners, and our retail partners will have their own pre-order program.
What the fuck?
And I promise you it won't be that.
The demand that's going to be out there for Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah, they did announce this. I did know about it. In order to pre-order the Switch, at least through them, you have to verify that you're a Nintendo fan, fundamentally. Like, you have to verify that you engage with Nintendo products. You have a certain amount of hours. It's basically a fucking background check, like you're buying a gun. Like,
What the fuck? Are you serious?
it's like they do like a check to make sure that you are qualified for a pre-order. It's so good.
Christ.
I actually don't even hate that, because anything that takes a stab at scalpers, I'll at least give it a try. I'll at least say,
True.
cool.
But
why not give it
that's
a whirl?
still kinda
so
weird,
I don't
though.
dislike that. Obviously, the other retailers outside of Nintendo will not be doing that. No chance. They are still going to be scalpers. It's not going to beat scalpers, but anything that at least takes a shot at it, go for it.
So first of all, with Game Chat, when you choose Game Chat, you're only choosing from a list of your friends. So you're not
God,
going
that-
online to a wide open.
See, if this was my product, the last thing I would want people to see is this.
You're not going online.
That
to
looks like right out of Skype from back in the day.
True.
Oof.
a wide open.
No strangers.
That's right. It is
Oh.
your friends and it's your friend list and those people that you've invited into your.
You see the quote where Doug pulled a Don Matrick? Who's Don Matrick? And what quote? Are you talking about the one where he said, if you can't afford the Switch 2, get the Switch 1, or that's why the Switch 1 is here?
That's such a stupid thing to
He was
say.
the Xbox guy during the Xbox One reveal. Oh, did they say that for the Xbox One? If you can't afford the Xbox One, get the 360? History was not kind to that console. That thing was a super flop. Up there with the Wii U, really. But yeah, here. If you can't afford the $449 Switch, don't expect much help from Nintendo. The company executive is suggesting budget-conscious gamers simply settle for the first-gen Switch.
What an actual dumb thing to say, to be honest, to your consumers. Straight up. Actual straight dumbness.
Doug Bowser said the company recognizes there are some people that may not be able to afford the Switch 2's price point. That's why we wanted to make the other Switch platforms available so people still have an opportunity to come into our gaming universe, be a part of these characters in these worlds, and see value, if you will, in whatever rung of the platform they come in.
Yo ho, a pirate's life will be.
Yeah, so can't afford it, stay broke, get a Switch, basically, is what it boils down to. I think they are still developing every game for Switch and Switch 2, so I don't think anything is Switch 2 exclusive. So I don't think you'll miss out on any games by not having the Switch 2.
The Mario game is probably on Switch too.
Never mind, I'm immediately proven wrong in the following paragraph.
Told ya! Told ya!
A growing crop of Switch 2 games such as Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and
Ha,
Donkey Kong
told
Bonanza
ya.
won't be offered on the Switch 1. I'm wrong. That was quick. It was in the following paragraph. You didn't know that. No, I was under the impression this was going to be like when the PlayStation 3 launched and they still like co-developed games for PS3 and PS2. But even with the PS3, they did have like a couple of PS3 exclusives like Resistance, Fall of Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and here's the mention of Xbox One. Comparing it to Don Matrick, who tried to justify the Xbox One internet requirement, saying, "Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360. Great quote, Don. Crushed it.
True.
Don Matrick got fired 1 month after the Xbox One reveal. How? Why? What did he do wrong? I'm sure he's probably the CEO of a Fortune 500 company now, because you can only fail upwards in this industry. Why do you hate Xbox? They've been doing so many good things recently. What? I don't even really hate them. They just have nothing on there. And Phil Spencer constantly reminds people of that. He's like, yeah, we lost the console war. Yeah, we still don't have games. But I've always said I think Game Pass is a great deal.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate
Game
that
Pass
Xbox
really
games
is a good
aren't
deal.
actually exclusive because you can play all of them on PC.
Yep.
I don't even necessarily hate Xbox. I just don't see any reason why you would ever buy that.
True.
Unless you just already have one or your friends are on it.
True. Wow. That's crazy. If you cannot afford a Switch 2, there's a Switch 1, chat. That's the answer of Doug Bowser. Damn, dude. That's a crazy ass response, to be honest, to be saying that. I know that people cannot afford a Switch 2, but you can afford the Switch 1, you know? Man, telling people too poor get wrecked is a bad move. It definitely is a bad move. But you know, the problem is that Nintendo is still gonna sell these consoles because there's those people who love their plastic box at the end of the day, you know? I don't even know if I want to get me a Switch. I think I'd rather get me a Steam Deck at that point, you know? If you can't afford a tier 3, there's always a tier 1 peasant. Yeah, it's pretty much that specific response, to be honest. Oh my god. Oh, wow, dude. Wow. Honestly, freaking wow. What an actual response, to be honest. Am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised whatsoever, to be honest, of course. Either way, just go to Steam Deck. Steam Deck, at least the games are free. Even then, you know, yo ho, a pirate's life will be. I feel like there's gonna be more piracy now with Nintendo games ever since because of this, you know. I would not be surprised, to be honest, but hey, you know what? It is what it is at the end of the day. Hey man, you could still technically play Nintendo Switch games on PC. You can still do that. So, you know. Cool, it makes sense. Doug Bowser is the former EA executive. Oh, is he? Damn, I didn't even know about that. Even then, I just rather get a Steam Deck and then mod my PS Vita, because I have a PS Vita over there on my other desk. I can just mod that one and just play PS Vita games. So I'll be a-okay, you know. I'll be fine for a while, you know. If I want to play, you know, certain games on my on like handheld and stuff. So yeah, this is a pretty, like, I'm not gonna lie, to be honest, like it's a lot of business stuff at the end of the day, which I understand the business stuff, but at the end of the day it's kind of like you either die a hero or exist long enough to see yourself become EA. That's very true. That's very true. But oh well. It is what it is, right? Well, people can let me know in the comment sections down below if they're gonna buy a Switch 2. I'm definitely not buying a Switch 2. Definitely not. Maybe if it goes on sale like pretty cheap, or unless I pick up a good deal of a Switch 2 on, like, you know, in a third market price, you know, then yeah, I can probably pick it up by about that time, you know, but who knows? We'll just have to see what happens at the end of the day. That's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff, and yeah, let me know what you guys think. And that's the end of the video, and peace.